Joining us now is former Bay Area Congressmember Jackie Speier. Jackie, thanks so much for your time. Pete McCloskey was 96 years old, lived such a rich life, and we understand you have a really sweet picture that was taken last week.
Yes, the picture was taken of himself and his wife Helen and shared with me. And I don't know if you're going to be able to bring it up on your screen, but it's a beautiful depiction of a true love that they enjoyed for many, many decades. And I had the privilege of visiting him about a month ago, and he was still full of piss and vinegar. He still was full of clarity about the democracy that we are quickly losing, and someone who was passionate about his love for this country and for a Congress that responds to its people. He was a moral compass, as you have depicted in your references to him, fighting the Vietnam War, going after Nixon to bring that war to a close, being the environmentalist in the 70s with the Endangered Species Act, creating Earth Day when it was not necessarily first and foremost in people's minds. So he was an incredible mentor to me. He lived his life with gusto and never lost sight of how important it was to protect the Constitution.
Mm-hmm. And as a war hero, he had Purple Hearts. And correct me if I'm wrong, but he gave one of them to you? Actually,
I have it here. This is one of my prized possessions, having served in Congress. I don't know if you can see this, but he presented this to me midway through my career. And he said he wanted me to have one of his Purple Hearts because he said there was no equivalent medal for civilians who have served and been wounded. And he thought this was one way of rectifying it. So it's a treasure that was hung in my office in Congress, and I will hang it again. So he's always going to be with me.
Yeah, treasured memory for sure. We use the term war hero. Pete McCloskey really fits the description. He led, and we heard it in the piece, 6 bayonet charges in the Korean War. That's something he was obviously extremely proud of.
And yet he became anti-war through the Vietnam War. He recognized that it was a quagmire, that we should get out of it. But he was a true American hero who believed in his country, who fought for his country, not just on the battlefield, but in Congress. And even after he left Congress, writing letters to the editor and columns in newspapers, kind of making sure that we were aware that all is not right. And he really depicts, I think, what's the best that America has to offer in leadership.
Finally, what do you think is the lasting legacy that he leaves to future generations and perhaps future public servants?
Well, I think the legacy is that you do what's right, even when it's unpopular. You stand your ground. And he did all of those things. He lost elections because he stood his ground. And yet he never was embittered. He continued to fight for this democracy and loved this country. And I think he will go down in history, certainly in the Bay Area, as one of the finest leaders we ever had.
Former Congresswoman Jackie Speier, thank you so much.